Hey everyone, it's Dr. Ryan Lau. Happy Friday. Really fun topic today. It actually deals with the education sector, and the sector is really near and dear to EnergyHill's heart, and that is education and retention when it comes to education. That can kind of be a bad word sometimes in some schools, but I'm going to handle it and kind of give the three most tactical areas in which you can kind of help retention. But you do have to change your mindset in some way. So I'm going to go through them. I also have a little thing I've been thinking about, and then I'm going to kind of tease it out right now. What is the common denominator between Chicago Bears, Pittsburgh Steelers, and Tampa Bay Buccaneers? I'll talk to you at the end about that. So stay tuned. If you don't care about retention, you're going to want to hear at the end what I'm going to say. Okay, so with that said, let's get right to it. Three keys that I use, and I've used kind of throughout my education, marketing, design, life, that really help schools increase retention. Bottom line, I want to start off with this, in that retention should always work. I hate when I hear schools or administrators say, oh, retention, you know, we're always going to accept. For us, a good retention rate is 75%. I'm like, oh, I cringe inside, and probably physically as well as that. Why? I mean, there's reasons why. There's reasons why, you know, students have to drop out of school and they can't, you know, finish and really graduate. But I don't understand why a school can't have 98, 99% retention or 100% retention. I know there's life happens. I know that, you know, I think that one of the biggest things that I always would counsel students in death of the family, that someone close to them died, or they have to go and they can't keep up with the work, so they have to, you know, take off the semester or the quarter. That makes sense. But other than that, I'm really curious, what are the reasons that schools are seeing that are valid? Because I'm going to refute most valid reasons, quote unquote, and I say valid as in air quotes, because I don't think they're valid. I think that a school running properly and having all kind of cylinders clicking should have in the high 90 retention rate. So with that said, here's the three tips that I've seen. Number one is start with admissions. In most cases, admissions and the team and the school leadership are the face of the school. Admissions really work kind of in the trenches with the student, helping them with financial, helping them with all their different paperwork, all the things that they need. They need to have a good relationship with the department heads and the faculty or teachers. Because the worst thing I've seen is some schools, they're given a tour, admissions is given a tour, and they walk into a classroom and it's like a big disruption. You can feel the friction. It's a bad experience for the student. It's a bad experience for admissions. It's just not healthy. So make sure there's a good collegiality there. Build an internal community. I think that's really key, that the admissions team, they have that internal community amongst the staff. And I'm talking about staff, team, leadership, and admissions. Understand each other so that students have an expectation of what's going to happen on a tour or on a first impression. Number two, focus on curtain students. A lot of time, I view retention as it starts at admissions, it ends at graduation, but really it doesn't even end there. And a lot of people are like, ooh, that's radical. No, it's just admission. Try me, okay? It starts at admissions, it should end at graduation, but I'm gonna take it a step further. It should go on to alumni as they go on in their career, and as they have successful careers and open businesses or have huge success in their jobs and where they're at in their organizations. It should continue throughout. So I'm gonna say admissions isn't just admissions, you're done with admissions and that's it. I don't believe in that, and I really challenge you out there that shouldn't be the case. Here are your students. Here's some tactical tips to have your admissions team and all your, in a sense, throughout your organization use. Email marketing. I don't mean outbound. I mean, in a sense, your internal community. Have it where there's that relationship going back and forth. Sharing student experiences socially. There should be a really strong social engagement on social platforms as well. Events, surveys. I think you should do a quarterly semester, or at the very least yearly survey on, hey, what was your experience like? What can we do better? What was a huge success for you? Always stay in contact, maintain that relationship with the students throughout, not just freshman year. Let's also throw it in there for sophomore, junior, and senior year, especially senior year. The stress is through the roof. Tip 3, set clear expectations. Students need to know what they're getting into. I think a lot of times I see schools, whether it's secondary, higher ed, whatever, I see them struggle because the expectations are here and they deliver here. And it's like, that was a waste of money, time, effort, everything. So make sure that the students are clear. Hey, this is what you're getting into. You're going to learn these skills. We're going to help you with our, job placement programming. We're going to help you. This is what the expectations are. Also, I go back to refer to tip number 1. Admissions is a start, but it carries throughout. Communication, community, that needs to happen. There needs to be good communication amongst your internal team and with your students. That's clear. Brand, mission, and vision. I think this is so instrumental that if you're a school that, hey, here's your admissions numbers, and the admissions numbers are, we need to bring in 100 students into this program every year. That's fine, but make sure that the mission and vision line up with that, so there's not a disconnect there. Be authentic. I can't say that enough. Just be real. Okay, as an admissions director or someone on the admissions team or a teacher, faculty, make sure you're authentic. Don't be fake. You can't continue if you're fake, okay? If you're miserable, education is it's a giving field. So you gotta be authentic in this space. Okay, students have more options than ever. So I wanna throw it out there is that if you're not authentic, if you're not following all these things, there's options out there. So the competition is at its highest right now. Build relationship with your students and make sure your community is strong. We're Energy Hill. I'm going to go back to my tip, but first, we're in Land O'Lakes, north of Tampa. We love it here. Make sure to scan the QR code if you see it. You can always reach out to anyone on the business team or me directly. I wanted to go back to, I mentioned earlier, do we have a question, Christian, too? I think we might have a question. But I want to talk about, real quick, Chicago, Pittsburgh, and Tampa Bay Buccaneers. What do they have in common? They're all teams I follow and love. I'm just going to say it like that. I was born in Chicago. I absolutely love my Bears. They're probably the 5-1 team that is the best 5-1 team, said no one ever, that you ever see this year in the NFL. Pittsburgh Steelers, 5-0. They are, yep, I'd say power rankings, they should be number 1, but what's okay. We'll let the Seattle Seahawks take it for now. Third, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's not even Tampa Bay. I think it's Tampa Bay now, right, Tom Brady? So my whole thing is those are how the three things connect. I love I'm always going to root for a home team. It's been very hard to cheer for the Bucs the last, decade, but go Tampa. Okay, questions.
Question is, for schools, what are some actionable steps that they can take right away today?
Okay, so right away today is I think you can look through those three things I talked about, the 3 tips. I'm going to say, though, director of admissions. I'm going to talk to you right now. Yes, you can have your team go through any of these tips and help, but this one that's most important is brand, mission, and vision, and core values. If there's a disconnect there, these tactics aren't going to help you because you're going to run into whatever. Our admission numbers, we have to bring in 200 students, and it's like there's no relationship. You're churning through numbers, or we have to bring in 1,000 students. There's going to be a disconnect there. So you might, as a director of admissions, you might need to take a step back and say, hey, our relationship with faculty and staff and leadership at the school is not where it needs to be. We need to, from a brand standpoint, take a step back, look at what we're about, what our mission is, how we do what we do, what are our core values, and what's our vision for where we're going to be as a school in the future. If those things are disconnected, tactics mean nothing, and you will fail. So I just want to take a step back and say, Director of Admissions, I'm calling you out right now. Look at the brand of your school and say, hey, are we in a position where we can successfully grow? I'm not a fan of building the plane while it's in the air or fixing the plane while it's in the air. I'm not a fan of that. Sometimes it's best to just pump the brakes, especially we're coming into the new term, into the new year. This is the time now to say, hey, in the summer, we need to kind of get together as a family. In the second, winter and spring term, we need to kind of come together as a family, as a school, and say, what can we be doing better? Make the brand mission vision part of your priorities, and then go forward. So I know it's a little harsh, but it's true. I believe it 100% in every part of my body that the brand mission vision and core values need to be on point. Thank you guys so much. I will be here next Friday. Looking forward to talking.